Hey everyone, thank you for joining us today on our new series, Calls from the Wild.
So we're excited to welcome McKensie Petersen. Thanks so much for joining us today, McKensie.
Yeah, I'm excited. Thanks for connecting with me and just being interested in a little bit of our life and what we do here, and we're excited to make this happen.
Yeah, so before we get started, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and where you're at in the country, talk about your ranch a little bit.
Yeah, I grew up in a small town in Utah, an oil-filled family. My family every single person in my family owns their own business, has always worked hard, but there's always been a part of us that just wanted ranch life, wanted cows. We worked really hard to be able to enjoy that life. It wasn't something that was passed down generations or anything like that. My dad, the first $10,000 he ever saved in his life, he bought a little piece of property, and with every little bit he could, he bought the next piece over and the next piece over, just a little tiny bit at a time as he could. So he worked really hard to be able to have the family ranch that we have, and just learning as we went. You know, it's really hard to up and start a ranch or buy cows or do any of those things. But just a little bit at a time, he was able to learn and make mistakes and figure things out and teach us as we went. And they kind of bought every little animal that my mom ever was interested in, and weird, wacky ones, alpacas and guinea hens and just random animals as they went, until they were able to retire and really enjoy the ranch. So it's a special place in our family that will always be there, and I hope my kids get to bring their kids there. And then my husband and I, Chris Petersen, he has we just bought a property in southern Utah, so we're a little bit away from our family ranch, but we're looking forward to building this out for what we want to do here. And here's my dog. Our house is kind of a revolving door all the time of animals and creatures, and you just never know what's going to happen here. But so we're excited to make our little dreams come true here and keep building on to our property here in southern Utah.
Great that you were able to watch your mom ranch growing up as well. So it's like you got to see the hard work that it takes from her perspective as well as your dad. I think that's so cool. I didn't realize that. I knew that you and Chris just purchased a ranch of your own, but I didn't realize that you really grew up on one that just continued to grow too. Like, that's so special.
Yeah, I think it's really neat just the way that I got to see my parents take those risks and not be afraid to mess up. And I think that that's one thing that keeps a lot of people from stepping out and buying animals or buying property, is they're just so afraid to screw something up, And my mom used to say, take advantage of this season of life that you have the luxury to mess up, like we have no idea what the future holds, or even like with COVID, we all saw like, oh, all of a sudden there's no groceries, but for the most of our life, we have the luxury to mess up. If we plant a garden and it all dies, we're not going to go hungry. We can still go to the store, like we have Google, we can look things up. Like we don't, we have that luxury to just step out and try new things and do our best and try and learn. My mom was a secretary, she didn't have some extensive knowledge and history in raising animals, but they just learned as they went, listened to people around them. Growing up, I remember my parents spending a lot of time asking a lot of questions, just learning and not being embarrassed if they totally screwed up, if they planted a hayfield and it got filled with thistles, and okay, this is what happens, and you have to learn and adjust, and not being too prideful to make those mistakes. And
wow. What an interesting story. I don't think of ranching like that. I think everybody knows what they're doing, but it's good to hear that, there's failures no matter what you're doing, and you just got to learn from them.
So when did you and Chris purchase the ranch you own now?
We actually just barely closed in January. So all that was here was just a tiny, tiny little 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom cabin, which obviously wasn't big enough for our our whole family. So we added another bedroom and a bathroom. And, so we've kind of worked on just getting the house ready and able for us to live here. And then kind of waiting for ground to not be frozen to continue doing fences and new barns and build our chicken coops and all of that. So it's really just a completely clean slate. With what we started with was just a clean slate with a tiny little cabin on it. But just having the vision to try and make it what we want, instead of just finding something that somebody else has already built out and making it ours. We really wanted to find a clean slate and make it our own.
I'm sure it's so satisfying to see like the end result. I know it's probably going to still be a work in progress. Like you're always going to continue to, build it and grow it, but just to see like, we did it. Here's the house. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And just it's such a fun thing to do together as a family. And we have talked a lot about this with using our ROXOR and how we've been able to, how that has brought us all together to work on things so much more, because we can all four jump in. We can take our fencing stuff out. We can, take our small trailers or a welding trailer or whatever and all be together and working together. Before having our ROXOR, we depended a lot on horses, and that's great, and that's a whole experience all in its own. But it's not like it's a lot harder to throw your kids on the back of a horse. You're watching them. You're constantly concerned with what's going on with them and their horse, and not what you're trying to work on, So just to be able to load up all together, hook on our little trailer, and go out and check on our animals and build our fences or whatever it is that we're working on, to be able to do that as a family has been super fun and super rewarding. And I just feel like my kids are so much more invested into our property, and they feel that sense of pride, that I remember feeling like I can drive by my parents' ranch and drive past the fences and think, I painted those fences, and it was like a really annoying task at the time to paint all of the fences. But now it's like, that's a part of me that's always going to be here. And there's that pride of, yeah, I did that. I was a part of that. And to see that in my kids is so, so special. And just the way that they're invested into this, and they want to check on the animals, or, they want to get up early, and they want to be a part of everything that's going on. And they feel this personal sense of responsibility of like, hey, if these animals, if I don't feed them, they're not going to get fed. Like they're going to be hungry. Like, and you don't want your kids to worry, but it's nice to see that sense of responsibility of, the weather's bad and we need to go to make sure the water's not frozen or whatever it is. They're worrying about them. They're concerned with something other than themselves. And as parents, that's a hard place to get to sometimes. We're just self-focused naturally, and to try and ingrain that into our kids is a struggle. And it's super rewarding just to see them invested into our animals, invested into the property, and thinking about things other than just their own little life, so it's really been special.
Oh, yeah, they see firsthand what hard work does. And then obviously, as a parent, screen time, I'm sure it's like you get to get them outside, enjoying nature, fresh air. What does a typical day on the ranch look like for you and your family? Like, wake up to end of the day. What does that look like?
Yeah, well, the thing about our life is we don't have a typical day. There's no such thing as a typical day. And that's one of the things that I love the most about homeschooling my kids is that our life is fast moving. We have a lot going on between concerts, or, we run two separate businesses aside from our property and homeschooling our kids. And so every day looks really different. And, sometimes it's like, okay, it's winter. There's only going to be a couple hours during today that are even like halfway decent to be outside and working. So we're going to spend our daytime hours outside doing chores, getting all of our stuff done while it's warm enough to do so. And then we're going to start school at 4:00 when it gets cold. And we're going to do it through the evening and take a break for dinner. And you just never know what our day is going to look like. And I love that. I get bored in a routine. There's every day we have no idea. And you kind of can't be too stuck in a routine because you never know what problems you're going to have. You never know, 2 nights ago we came home and it's like, okay, the pipes from the well are frozen and this is going to have to be fixed and we're going to be up till who knows when. And there's so many things that are unexpected. You just have to be able to roll with that and not get too caught up in this strict routine because it will get messed up. And so my kids have just gotten used to that we do school when we do school and we do work when we need to, and our family and animals take priority, and everything else that has to happen kind of has to work in that schedule. So there's definitely no typical day on the ranch, that's for sure.
Wow. That's so different than from what school was like for at least me for myself as a kid. Like, I can't imagine, I mean, that would be really awesome thinking about it, but then also very tough at the same time because you just have to be a little bit more adaptable. So that's crazy to think about.
It is crazy. It is crazy. It's like there's no, okay, we're going to be at school from 8 to 3 or whatever. Like there's not this specific time, which it takes a huge amount of discipline to live in that kind of flexible schedule to make sure that you still check off the boxes of things that have to happen in a day. And, to say, okay, like I get that it's 30 minutes to bedtime, but we still didn't get this done, or we still didn't get your writing done for today or enough reading time, and we've got to make that happen before bedtime. It's been really cool though to see how the boys have learned to self-regulate their time and say, yeah, like I know mom's really busy right now and she's not going to tell me right now that I have to get my schoolwork done, but I'm not really doing anything right now, so I better just get to work. And so that I don't have to do it later, and just to kind of see that self-starting and understanding this is my responsibilities. I'm going to have to get it done, and have them say, hey, I'm not doing anything. I'm going to start on school. I'm going to get going on my schoolwork, or I'm going to do my science. It's definitely a challenge, but I think if you're raising entrepreneurs and you're wanting your kids to run their own businesses someday, it's a good foundation for them to learn how to manage their own life and manage their own time, and not just be waiting and expecting instruction at every minute. They're learning to manage their time and their responsibilities. And so it's just a whole nother skill that it's going to be important for their life.
Yeah. It's like schooling on the ranch is all encompassing.
Mm-hmm. Even when you're not going to school, you're getting schooled.
Yeah, right.
For sure. I'm getting schooled every single day. That's for sure.
So you talk about like how your days are different. Every day is different. So with all of those things that you have to do, how does the ROXOR help you with out on the ranch, you, Chris, and your...
It's so fun because we literally use it for everything. We use it in every single part of our life, not just here working on the ranch. It's awesome to be able to have that little unit that can still tow stuff. It's strong, it's dependable. Fuel mileage is amazing. There's so many things that I like about the unit. I can have the ROXOR out here on the ranch and be working in it all day long, and it can be covered in mud and filthy, and take it to the car wash and spray the whole thing out and use it in a parade the next day. Like, it's just so versatile for our life, and we've used it for literally everything. We take it to concerts with us. We sell merch out of it. We obviously use it to work in all the time, and we haul our trailers with it, our smaller equipment. It's easier to maneuver through gates and fields and just small areas. It's just the perfect little workhorse for everything that we do, between building fences or hauling the welder or the water tanks or anything. We use it constantly on the property, but we use it in every single aspect of our life, quite literally.
This question just came up for me. So before you had the ROXOR, what did you use to do all those things, like sell merch and, do the daily tasks and all that?
Well, I mean, it was just, we've had other side-by-sides in the past before we had the ROXOR, but they were constantly breaking down. We were constantly having problems. It wasn't something that I want to call the ROXOR cute, but I mean, it looks pretty good. You know, it wasn't anything I would want to show off to anybody, especially after they'd been worked in at all. It's like, that's not leaving the ranch, let alone I'm going to sport it through a parade. No way, you know? So it kind of, I wouldn't say that I had anything that I would feel confident or proud enough to put our name on and take down a small town parade for sure. Before that, it was just setting up little plastic tables or basic setups that look the exact same as everybody else's. And the Rockstar is really one of those things that just turns people's heads. I mean, I remember the first time that I saw a Rockstar. We were in Tennessee with Chris's producer, Trent Willman, and we were just taking a break from writing songs, and we went to lunch, and I saw this Rockstar on the side of the road, and I was like, what was that? What was that thing that we just saw? I made them turn around. We went back, and I'm like, and he's like, this is brand new. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, it's so timeless. And I love things like that. I mean, it's just a thing in my life. I love those timeless looks and features that's like, you have no idea what year this thing was built. No clue. There's no guessing, like, because it's just so timeless. And I was in love with it from the first time that I saw it. And I told Chris, we are getting one of those, period, end of discussion. It's not even, and then to find out it was a diesel on top of that, I was just over the moon. I was crushing on ROXOR for so long before I was like, we have to get one. No question about it.
That perspective is so great because we hear a lot of times, like, love the diesel, love that it's steel, it's so durable, but also hearing it from your perspective that it's cute, it's good looking, it's unique. You can tell a story when you're out with it. People are coming to you asking, what is this thing? When was it made? Yeah, I love that perspective. I've never really thought of it from like it has a cute, unique look to it. Yeah. I mean, and really badass, but cute as well.
It definitely does. And, you know, it's like a talking feature, you know, and you just like, it's kind of awkward sometimes at concerts. People want to make conversation, but you don't really know what to talk about. And it's like, we talk about the ROXOR. Like, I'm going to tell you all about it. I'm going to flip the hood up. I mean, we've got so many pictures of after concerts at a park or something or a fair. We've got the hood up of the ROXOR. They're checking out the engine. We're talking details of the ROXOR. And it's just such a unique machine. And everybody's fascinated with it. Everybody wants to talk about it. They want to find out where they can get one. Just pick your brain about all the details. And like I said, it's completely timeless. They have no idea, like, wow, this thing is amazing. And people complain all the time, like things just aren't built like they used to. They don't last like they used to. And it's like, this is built to last. It's built solid. And they watch our lives or our posts or whatever, and they see, I mean, not that we're trying to damage our ROXOR, but we put a beating on it just in our regular life, like on the mountain and working, and people are just like, you are going to ruin that thing. And it's like, nope, this is how it was built. It was built to work, and we put it to work. That's for sure.
I love hearing that. Like, we believe in that with our product, but hearing it firsthand from someone who uses on a ranch day in, day out for merch, for everything. It's just so refreshing to know that it's exactly what we want it to be and it's working. So that's excellent.
Yeah. With even being on the mountain, we've always had to have two vehicles with us at all times because something was bound to break down or have a problem. And we've gotten to the point where it's like, we're fine with just taking our ROXOR. Like, we're confident enough that if we get stuck, it's got a winch, we can pull it out. Like, it's so self-sufficient in itself, and we're so confident in that machine because we have not had any problems with it at all, that we feel confident to take it anywhere and that it's gonna work out great and we're not gonna have any issues. And that is worth its weight in gold. Like, not having to stress of what problems you're gonna have, things that are gonna break that you can't fix or whatever. I mean, we've been in every other machine that we have, we've been completely stranded. We love it, and we've obviously had them for years and haven't had any issues like that. So we're super thankful for that.
It's good to know that the ROXOR doesn't have its challenges, because I'm sure ranching alone does. And Alicia and I, growing up in the suburbs, we're curious if you could share like the most challenging day or story that you've had on the ranch. It doesn't have to be about the ROXOR, but just, something crazy that we couldn't even fathom.
Well, I mean, as far as just regular ranch, just challenges that you have on the ranch, I think anything that happens with your animals is usually the scariest and the most challenging. But aside from that, just kind of on a wild, fun note, growing up in a small town, we didn't have water parks, right? We had just a water slide, like a huge water slide, a commercial sized water slide, but just one slide that went into like a tiny little pool. And that was our water slide in our community. And they decided that they were going to tear it down. And my dad was like, come on, what are my grandkids going to do? You can't just tear this water slide down. And so my brothers have trucking companies, and he's like, we need some trucks down here. And he just tells them, well, I'll haul the water slide off. I don't know what plans you had for disposing of it, but I'll take care of it. Don't worry about that. We'll haul it off for you. And he takes that whole water slide and he's like, listen, we're going to put this up at the ranch. What? Dad, like our ranch is in the middle of nowhere, like nowhereville. And he's like, the kids don't have a water slide in town anymore. And so we're going to put it here at the ranch. And so we built a still building and put an indoor pool inside of it. And from the top of the hill in our ranch, learned how to put that whole water slide together. We spent the winter with the ranch hands sanding it down, resurfacing it so it looked brand new, and put an entire commercial water slide at our ranch that goes inside of a still building into an indoor pool. And that is probably the most challenging but funnest thing we've ever done.
So random. I love it.
Oh, completely random. And it was so funny because honestly, we didn't know if it would work. Like we didn't know if we could really do it. So we didn't want to tell anybody what we were doing because we didn't want them to know that we couldn't do it, And so people would ask us all sorts of questions like, what are you guys doing? Like, what are you building out there? And we would just make up crazy stuff and stories like, I can't say much, it's pretty top secret, just get everybody's small town gossip wheels to turn in.
Is it still standing today?
Oh yeah.
Good.
We use it constantly.
That's so cool.
Yeah, come on down. We need a ROXOR staff retreat at the ranch.
Yes, we have a very important meeting out in Utah.
It's essential to be in person.
Joey and I were wondering, are there any jobs that you do better than Chris, your husband, out on the ranch?
He's so frustrating because he can do anything, and it's so annoying. Like I worked on houses for so long before I met him, and it was like, this is my thing, this is my business, I remodel houses. And he just like, comes in, never done it before, just decides to be the best. Like it's so annoying that whenever I find anything that I can do better than him, it's very rare. But I think the only thing, and people always like, well, what do you do for your company? I'm like, I do the talking. I don't know. Chris is pretty quiet. That's really the only thing that I can do that he can't do is just, he doesn't like to talk to people. He's not super social. He kind of likes smaller crowds, which is funny that he's able to get up on stage and perform and put on a show because he's naturally very shy. But he turns into a different person when he gets on stage. But yeah, that's really the only thing that I can do better than him.
I think that's a very important thing to do because if you weren't around, who would tell his story or your story?
I'm really good at getting him more work to do.
Perfect.
You need a taskmaster. I bet you if we asked what you're better at than Alicia and I, there'd be a million things because, did Chris grow up on a ranch too?
So he didn't really grow up on a ranch either. He always, from the time he was really, really young, loved horses. He learned a lot from his grandparents. His grandparents, both sides of his family worked really hard, and he learned a lot from working with his grandpa. But his immediate family, they had a few acres and a hayfield and stuff, but not like an expansive ranch. But he loved horses and he wanted a horse his whole life so bad. And I think it's really cool too, his story of getting his first horse, because he actually did a essay, a report. It was like a competition to win a horse. So, coming from a family that doesn't have horses and doesn't have all that set up, to find a way to get your own horse and take care of it and find people to help you and teach you is really cool. So he won the competition and he won his first horse, and found neighbors to help him, and learn from them and asking a lot of different people different questions. So kind of a similar story of just kind of from the ground up learning how to do everything on his own and make the life that he wanted for himself. So
I was reading that more and more women have been getting, becoming leaders at the ranch and at their farms and things like that. And I read that there's a bit of a better animal care with women sometimes. I don't know if you've experienced that at all, and things that you do better than Chris, maybe taking care of the calves or the horses. Do you find that you have like a motherly instinct toward the animals as well, or am I making all that up?
Oh, no, definitely. And I think that just taking care of babies in general, it's kind of universal. It's surprising how universal it is, and when you learn how to just like just the different ways that you can get a baby to nurse, you're going to do the same thing with a calf. You're going to do the same thing with an alpaca. You're going to do the same things with no matter what type of animal it is. And so there's a lot of that just bleeds over, and just some of those more. Chris is a very, very patient man in general, and he's very patient with our animals, but there is a motherly instinct that definitely is a strong point when it comes to getting a calf to feed or take a bottle, which isn't natural if their mom's not nursing them or something like that. It seems to come super natural to me. Take care of them like you would your own baby. And it's all pretty easy. It's all pretty natural, not easy. Taking care of babies is difficult too, but it's very similar. A huge part of that for sure.
Do you have any words of advice for women that are interested or want to get into ranching or farming?
Yeah, I would say to just, take full advantage of whatever space that you have. Sometimes people just kind of have this idea like, well, I can't start doing anything until I buy property or I have more acreage or whatever. And I would just say, start with where you're at in your life and try and become the most self-sufficient as you can. If you're in an apartment, you know what? Instead of having houseplants, grow herbs, grow tomatoes, grow what you can. Use your balcony. If you're in a community that only allows you 2 chickens, have 2 chickens. Do whatever you can with what you have currently. Don't just say someday when I retire, someday, down the road, I'm going to be able to move. I'm going to be able to buy more property. Take advantage with what you have where you're at. There was a time that I had to live in Southern California. That was really challenging for me. I had my fruit trees, I had my garden, I had my 2 chickens. You just do what you can with the space that you have, and you learn so much from that. And you don't think that you will, or you don't think like, oh, this isn't legit farming. And it's like, okay, but you're still learning how to take care of plants. You're learning how to take care of animals, preserving your own food at whatever scale you're in. And all of those are skills that you can take with you and grow as you go. When my parents first bought their property, it's like it was 40 acres. That's it. And they made the most of that 40 acres and then bought a little piece next to them and a little piece next to them. And they didn't have much growing up, So it was like just making the most with the property or the resources you have, no matter what your situation is or how much room that you have. Everybody can do something. Everybody can grow something. So start with that and learn as you go, because like my mom used to say, you have the luxury to fail at this point. And so take advantage of having that luxury. Take advantage of having the luxury of being able to YouTube or Google anything and you have any bit of information at your fingertips. Like there's absolutely no excuse for any of us to not know anything that we want to know right now. Everything is at our fingertips at all time. So take advantage of that. start following social media accounts that inspire you, that are kind of the things that you want to do, but don't get so wrapped up in that you think, I can't experience any of that life until I have a big piece of property, or I'm able to buy cows or whatever. Just, I'm nobody special. I didn't come with any special bit of upbringing or information or anything. We've learned as we've gone. My whole family has. And I'm thankful that the one thing that I did, that I was raised with, and the tool that I was raised with, is that you can do anything you want, and it's okay to fail, and you're going to fail. The first animal that I ever delivered by myself died. The first time I planted my own garden without my mom or my grandparents' help or anything, I went on vacation. I thought my drip system was set up good to go, and I came back and it was all dead. Like it just happens, and that's okay. And it's part of the learning process, and you're educating yourself. So just get after it and do what you can with the space that you have and the opportunities that you have in front of you. And if you're faithful with what you have, more will be added to that, and it will grow from there. And you'll really find your niche and the things that you love and the things about farming and ranching that you're just really into. You'll grow to understand that, instead of getting so committed into a giant property and then realizing, I actually hate cows. You don't know. So start small, start with what you have, and go from there.
I love how you say we have the luxury to fail, like flipping it around. Like, don't be afraid of it. Like, just start small, try it, and if it doesn't work, it's a luxury. Like, you can go to the grocery store. So that's a totally different perspective on the whole, just, sustainability of like growing your own food or having your own plants or chickens, cows. Yeah, totally different. Do you hunt, McKensie?
I do. It's a huge passion of mine. I grew up hunting with my mom. My brother's huge. He looks like a refrigerator with a head, so he's just this giant mountain of a man. And so in the fall, it was, growing up for him, it was football, and it was sports. So I hunted with my mom and her best friend, Lisa. She had 3 daughters. So it was kind of always like a girls thing. I didn't really know that. I thought it was like grocery shopping, like hunting's for the girls. I didn't know that men would hunt. So when I got a little older, my dad's schedule freed up a little bit, and it was like, oh, he wants to come. Like, all right, it's kind of like going like with a girls trip, but whatever. I didn't know that this was a thing that wasn't just for women. So some of my earliest memories were hunting with my mom. Definitely the best memory. A lot of the best memories with our family has been hunting together. So just even from a family's perspective, we all run our own businesses. We're all super, super busy. So hunting is the only time that we shut down. And we have our cabin, we get to the mountain, whatever it is, and we shut down. And I love that. And the big focus of mine is being able to hunt with my family. And the ROXOR is a huge part of that. It's the most comfortable way for us to hunt as a family. It's the most comfortable way for us to hunt with our kids. It's such a time saver, and when you have little kids, you don't want to burn them out on hunting. You don't want to like hike them so hard that they just decide they hate it, and the ROXOR really allows us to get access to a lot of places that normally before the ROXOR just took a lot of hiking. And so I love that. I love that it saves us time. It lets it be a fun thing for our kids, and no matter what size they are, I loved the adjustable seat belts in the ROXORs when my kids were smaller, and I felt safe. I felt like they were secure in the back seat, and it's just been such an amazing tool for us, but also just a super fun time. And all my nieces and nephews, everybody loves to go on the ROXOR, and everybody's always, when it's time to go, fighting to who gets the seats in the ROXOR before they're full. And so it's just super fun. But even taking the boat from the cabin down to the lake, or taking the raft down to the river, or anything like that, the ROXOR is just the perfect little unit to facilitate all those fun times. So it's been the centerpiece to a lot of our family memories and experiences that we wouldn't have had otherwise. before the Rockstar, a lot of times we were leaving the kids at the cabin with, an aunt or somebody that could watch them, just because the hikes were going to be too hard and too rigorous. And so it's fun to load them up. And whether we're going to look for sheds or going down to the lake and going fishing, the ROXOR has been our go-to unit to make that happen with the whole family. So that's been super.
You do it all. It's so great. I love it.
We really feel like that is just so ideal for our family, and it's so versatile. It's a comfortable ride. Something that's always been stressful for us on the mountain is just running out of gas, and always being worried about not getting too far away from the cabin where we could go back and fill up. It's just has been this constant stress. And with the ROXOR, it's not there. Like, there is no way that I can drive enough in one day to go through that tank. And so as long as we're filling up at night, we've been good to go always. And that's been a huge stress reliever.
So let's play our game. So we're gonna play a little game called This or That, and I'll just rattle off some different things and let me know what one you like. So first one is ponies or puppies?
Such a hard one. I'm gonna have to say ponies, but that's close.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee is my love language. I can do without a lot in this life, but you don't want to see me without a cup of coffee. At least one cup of coffee a day, and I'm good. But I'm a different person without it. I'm not gonna lie.
Shovel horse manure or the chicken coop?
Ooh, put me in the chicken coop. Yeah, I love my chicken.
Alicia and I were talking, and we were like, so what do you think? We were deciding, even though neither of us have done that before, and I was like, I think I'm going to go horse manure because I feel like the chicken coop is like super dirty, but I'm just making this up.
You know what? Chickens are not as dirty as you would think. I don't know. They keep things pretty clean. But it is one of those, like, when you're done cleaning out the horse pens, they're still dirty. It's still like dirt on the ground. And the chicken coop is really rewarding because when you do a full clean out and your chickens are all clean and you put new shavings in the ground, it's kind of like it feels all nice and crisp when you're done. And that's a good feeling, like kind of like when your house is all nice and clean. And so it's kind of, you put their stuff all cute and make it all nice again. I swear they appreciate it. So it just looks cuter when you're done. I don't know what else to say.
Well, yeah, we were both thinking chicken coop because horse manure is so gross. I'm sorry.
A lot of shoveling.
But it doesn't really stink. So that's a good thing. Like, sometimes I think people equate that, if they don't have horses, they think of like giant, like they think of their dogs, which if it was that much of dog, it would be gross. But horse manure doesn't really stink.
Oh,
so it's not as bad as you might think.
Good to know.
Okay, so cow's milk or almond milk?
I like the taste of cow's milk better, but almond milk we're constantly on the road, right? And so if you come back and you've got milk in the fridge, it's usually gone bad. So we always keep the cases of almond milk from Costco because I can just pull one out of the pantry and it's good to go all the time. It lasts for so long and I can store it in the pantry. So we tend to go with almond milk.
Oh, shocker. I thought for sure you'd be like cow's milk.
That's a surprising one.
But that's a good.
And I like to make my own almond milk. I don't have a dairy cow, so I can make my own almond milk, but I can't make my own milk. I don't have a milking cow, so.
Okay, so what, cows or horses?
I would have to say, if I had to pick, like if I had to choose, am I going to have cows or horses? I'd probably pick cows, to be honest. I mean, I love horses, but as far as just, having the essentials of what you need to survive, I don't want to eat my horses, but, cows, I think need cows. And if you got a ROXOR, then you can pretty much do everything you need for your cows. So I would hate to ever have to pick between the two, but I would probably pick cows.
That's another surprising one. Country music or rock music?
Country music, which that should be a given in our life. But I've always been a lover of country music. My whole entire family sings it. When you come visit us at the ranch, you'll find out that even my 98-year-old grandma gets out there with her harmonica. My whole family sings, plays the guitar. So Chris fits right in perfectly with our family, but we kind of tell our life stories through country music. So it's a special part of our heart for sure.
That's beautiful. I love that.
High heels or cowboy boots?
Cowboy boots. Even to my wedding, cowboy boots. Absolutely. I mean, I'm not afraid to wear high heels, but my life's, like I said, it's very unpredictable and there's no typical day. So it would be just my luck if I tried to put on a pair of heels that I would find myself in trouble wishing I had on boots.
If anyone could work in heels, it'd be you.
It's happened. I'm not going to lie. It's definitely happened. But I remember even one time when we were hunting when I was little, but it was like my mom was working all day and she always dressed really nice. And it was just like, oh, she got off work and we have a little bit of time. Let's go up. It was during hunting season. We'll try and, get a couple hours in of hunting, but she didn't have time to change. And so, we ended up getting there, and of course, she ends up shooting a deer, and she's like dressed up in like a dress like work suit and heels, hair all done, nails, whole 9 yards, and we've got this deer and take care of it, and she's dressed to the nines, and she didn't care. She got it done.
I need to meet her. It's amazing.
Pretty amazing. She was pretty amazing.
Okay, so I've gutted one deer. I've been a part of gutting many deers, but I've gutted one deer, and I mean, there's a lot of blood.
It's a mess. Like what? My mom had like this little poem. I won't say it. It's this little poem that went along with like teaching us how to gut deer, and it's sad that I'm sure she probably taught us other poems growing up, but that's the only one I remember.
It's the most useful one.
It is. It's practical, and it still goes through my head every time I need to get an animal. I taught it to Chris. I'll teach it to my boys.
I might have to get that poem for you so I can tell it to my fiance.
There you go. He'll be impressed.
Lastly, most importantly, ROXOR or other side-by-sides.
Oh, I mean, is that even a question? Of course, I'm going to pick my ROXOR. I'm going to have to pull out every other side-by-side. I've towed every side-by-side that we've owned on the ranch. We've had to tow home with our ROXOR or go and rescue them with the ROXOR. So I'm sticking with the ROXOR, and good luck if you decide otherwise.
Well, thank you so much for letting us into your world to pick your brain. And it really is just so cool to hear from an owner that uses it for so many different things and that the product is standing up to its name as a side-by-side unlike any other and clearly helps you and your family have fun and stay strong on the ranch. We really appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you guys just making a solid product that has been such a huge addition to our life. And I mean, it's nice to have something that you can stand behind and you can truly recommend and say, buy one of these and you're not worried about them having any problems or regrets. There's been so many people who we know personally who've decided to purchase a ROXOR after seeing ours and have been so happy with it and so happy with their purchase. And, it's just something that's going to last a really, really long time with a powerful engine you're going to be able to put a lot of miles on that before you have any type of hiccups. And so we love it. We're super happy to stand behind it and recommend them with confidence. And we've just loved you guys as a company and everything that you stand for. And we're super thankful to be able to be a part of this. So thanks for the call.
Thank you, McKensie. So nice to talk to you.
You guys too. Thank you.